ordering the end of the program.
To fix every single calamity of the Biden administration.
Our DC Bureau is live with the latest on the humanitarian parole. Marching for pro-life.
Leaving it to the states is important.
With support from the White House. Plot twist on the West Coast.
A lot more susceptible to erosion.
From wildfires to floods in Southern California. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Dylan Pizet.
I'm Jason Arrow. Today is Monday, January 27th, 2025.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A feud between two Western Hemisphere presidents over migrant flights is cooling off this morning. Now a week into the new term and with the help of ICE, Trump's administration reported the arrest of thousands of undocumented immigrants as the tariff feud between the U.S. and Colombia eases.
As Caplin's Valentina Gaspari reports, it comes as President Trump prepared for the 2025 Republican Issues Conference happening in Doral today.
If you're here illegally, if you broke our laws, then you're going to be targeted.
Departing Air Force One on Friday night, President Donald Trump is cracking down on illegal immigration from South Florida. ICE reports almost 1,000 taken into custody and more than 500 detainers yesterday. Those numbers are from at least Metro Atlanta, Puerto Rico, Colorado, LA, Austin, and Chicago. They follow news that ICE agents now have a quota of 75 captures per day. Other federal agencies are helping finding undocumented immigrants. The border czar says violent criminals were the targets of a Chicago blitz. The Illinois governor says he'd be fine if it had stopped there, but he says authorities also went after people whose only crime was entering the U.S. illegally.
They're going after people who are law-abiding, who are holding down jobs, who have families here, who may have been here for a decade or 2 decades, and they're often our neighbors and our friends.
Meanwhile, Trump will address the 2025 Republican Issues Conference at Trump National Doral today, as a feud between the U.S. and Colombia's president might be dying down. Colombia says it's resuming acceptance of U.S. deportation flights. That's after its refusal to accept 2 of them led to both countries' leaders threatening hikes on tariffs. Some analysts worry such increases would force Americans to pay higher prices for certain goods.
The only way that Donald Trump knows how to, quote, lead is by acting like a bully.
He's putting the rest of this hemisphere on notice that you are not dealing with the same president that you were.
I'm Valentina Gaspari, reporting for Caplin News.
One of the many executive orders President Trump signed on his first day ended a program that allowed more than 500,000 immigrants to enter the U.S. legally.
Our DC Bureau reporter David Lascano is live from the nation's capital to bring us the details this morning. Good morning, David.
Yeah, that's right, Dylan. In a controversial move, President Trump has signed an executive order ending the humanitarian parole program for immigrants coming from Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Venezuela, effectively closing the already narrow pathway for immigrants to come to the U.S. legally, and that now could leave thousands in a legal limbo. Introduced by the Biden administration in January 2023, provided a lifeline for over 500,000 migrants fleeing dire conditions in their home countries.
To fix every single calamity of the Biden administration that they've created. And this week alone, I took nearly 350 executive actions to reverse.
The executive order took effect immediately, meaning no new applications will be accepted. For those already in the U.S. under humanitarian parole, once their 2-year period ends, these individuals could fall into unauthorized status, lose work authorization, and potentially face deportation. The Cuban community, which has long relied on various U.S. immigration policies for refuge, now faces a stark new reality.
Hay un sentimiento generalizado.
There's a generalized feeling to allow entrance to people who are escaping from regimes and dictatorships, but there have been people who have abused this process to enter the U.S., many people claiming that their lives are in danger, but then they go back within 4 or 6 months. It doesn't make sense.
Eso no tiene ningún sentido.
Haiti, a country who's still reeling from political instability and escalating gang violence, has also seen a significant number of its citizens seek safety through this program.
This is just where we find ourselves now. We are people whose home have been utterly destroyed, and no one wants to give us amnesty.
Trump's orders go beyond just ending the program. It also shuts down the CBP One app, which was crucial for processing travel authorizations for humanitarian parole beneficiaries. Trump's executive action includes a directive to deport anyone who has entered the country using the CBP One app, on top of canceling any existing appointments. The ACLU, along with state chapters and other organizations, have filed lawsuits against Donald Trump's administration. These lawsuits allege that this order violates the Constitution, the congressional intent, and the long-standing Supreme Court precedent. Now, Donald Trump's administration has responded to these legal challenges, saying that they are ready to face them in court. From Washington, D.C., for Caplin News, I'm David Lascano.
Anti-abortion activists from across the country gathered in Washington, D.C. last Friday for one of the largest demonstrations in America. Our D.C. correspondent Carla Mendez has the story.
Good morning, guys. We're here at the 52nd annual March for Life in front of the Washington Monument, where thousands of people have gathered to continue their fight against abortion. For more than 5 decades, March for Life has been a staple in the anti-abortion movement, and this year was no different. The event culminated at the Capitol, but the pre-March festivities saw performances from the Christian band Unspoken, prayers led by local priests, and recorded remarks from President Donald Trump, followed by an in-person speech from Vice President J.D. Vance.
It is the single largest gathering in the world to celebrate our movement, the victories we've fought so hard for, and yes, the victories yet to come.
In my second term, we will again stand proudly for families and for life. We will protect the historic gains we have made and stop the radical Democrat push for a federal right to unlimited abortion on demand up to the moment of birth and even after birth.
Since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade in 2022, abortion rights have shifted to the states. Many at this year's rally emphasized their commitment to pushing for more restrictive policies, while others focus on fostering a cultural shift to make abortion socially unacceptable.
What Trump's position is leaving it to the states is important. And within each state, I think it's different for each state because people have different political beliefs across each state. Going as far as we can and saving as many lives as possible, I think, is the most important thing.
Despite the lively atmosphere, the march was not without controversy. The Patriot Front, a white supremacist group, appeared holding a large banner that read, "Strong families make strong nations," and Confederate flags that were swiftly denounced by march organizers.
The biggest goal would be to make abortion unthinkable in America, and that starts with changing the culture, and the laws will follow.
In the wake of several pardons, President Trump has further solidified his support for the anti-abortion movement. He recently pardoned 23 people who were found guilty of blockading abortion clinics.
Roe v. Wade being overturned was, I think, a great thing, but it was a step forward. It wasn't an end.
Many marchers believe the fight is not over despite abortion losing federal protection and the conservative shift in all 3 branches of government. They hope to make the movement about values, not just votes.
What we want to see is just a continual movement towards a pro-life culture in the United States, not just a country that has abortion as an illegal act, but a country of people who believe that abortion is wrong and believe that it should be illegal.
Some marchers have shared some of the specific issues on the movement's mind, including defunding Planned Parenthood and limiting access to abortion pills. However, all those who rally for this cause agree that the anti-abortion movement will not be won until both the legal system and society recognizes fetuses as individuals with their own constitutional and human rights. Reporting for Caplin News from Washington, D.C., I'm Carla Mendez.
Parts of Los Angeles County are still recovering from wildfires, and new fires continued to flare up last week. Much needed rain is now coming to the region, but with so much vegetation destroyed, officials are concerned about flooding and possible mudslides. Capital News reporter Laura Iglesias has more on the story.
Crews in Southern California desperately digging trenches as the fire-ravaged region now prepares for a new threat, flooding and mudslides.
The fire basically causes it to be a lot more susceptible to erosion.
This group of National Guardsmen were called to help fight the fires. Now their team and LA County workers are creating giant ditches to hold water. Much of Southern California is under a flood watch through Monday afternoon. The National Weather Service tweeting the threat is high enough to prepare for the worst case scenario. And while the rain is very much needed for these areas scarred by the wildfires, the ground is so dry that even a little bit of water can cause a lot of flooding.
There's nothing left holding the soil in place. So even one drop of rain will come down 7 times faster than it typically would have prior to this fire.
Over a 16-day period this month, firefighters say that they battled 10 different fires, the most destructive, the Palisades and Eden fires, which combined torched more than 40,000 acres.
That water comes right into the communities that were so devastated by these tragic fires.
Even for homes that were spared by these fires, those houses could now experience flooding, which could cause a whole new issue.
The flood is not covered by your basic home insurance policy either, and a lot of these people are not located in an area where they would think they might need a flood policy.
I'm Laura Iglesias reporting for Caplin News.
An investigation is underway this morning after a fire broke out at a shopping mall in the Tampa Bay area. Witnesses saw heavy black smoke pouring from a former Sears store in the city of Brandon Saturday evening. Crews aggressively attacked the fire but had to pull out when the roof partially collapsed. Its potential magnitude quickly upgraded to a 2-alarm fire.
Just look behind you, the potential that this has to spread into the other occupied building.
The vacant former Sears building is under construction for a new store. Even though a section of the mall was evacuated, there were no injuries. Firefighters took control in under 40 minutes.
The IRS will begin accepting 2024 federal tax returns on Monday, with the filing deadline set for April 15th. The agency's direct file program will be available in 25 states, allowing eligible taxpayers to file directly with the IRS for free. Around 1 million people could get a separate check in the coming weeks. These are taxpayers who were eligible for the 2021 Recovery Rebate Credit, but didn't claim it. Details on the newly minted Super Bowl matchup later this morning on Sideline.
And that's still ahead, and so is this story.
You need to be more than a good person. You need to get things done.
A titan of South Florida media makes a visit to the newsroom of our very own Caplin News. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
To get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
A legend of the press speaks to FIU students over the weekend. Nationally known newspaper editor and publisher David Lawrence Jr. visited FIU and spoke to students in journalism.
Lawrence is most known for his work at the Miami Herald and the K-8 Center with his name. On Friday at the Biscayne Bay campus, he spoke about lessons he learned as a lifelong journalist. He retired in 1999 as publisher of the Miami Herald to work on early childhood development. And as the chair and founder of the Children's Movement of Florida, he aims to make academic readiness the state's funding priority.
You need to be more than a good person. You need to get things done.
Students that attended received copies of his signed book, A Dedicated Life, Journalism, Justice, and a Chance for Every Child.
A country singer, Morgan Wallen, has an upcoming tour, new album, and forthcoming single releasing. The name of the album, I'm the Problem, was dropped last Friday. This announcement comes after pleading guilty to 2 counts of reckless endangerment in December. I'm the Problem Tour 2025 starts June 20th in Houston.
I could really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes?
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by Panthertech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Jason Arrow.
And I'm Dylan Bazet, and you can get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.